Incredible story in regards to the Carabao Cup final on Sunday, which is live on TalkSport. Chelsea could strike a deal with UEFA to serve a ban from European competition. What about this? In order to save money, it's been reported. And they will qualify for the Europa Conference League qualifying rounds if they win the final against Liverpool. John is now for more on this, football finance expert Kieran Maguire. Kieran.
Before we go any further, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Such an intriguing story, I think, for Chelsea fans and for rivals. Very intrigued to get your opinions and to garnish this video with your views on this. Take a listen to, for me, the best leading football financial expert in the world, Kieran Maguire. Let's take a listen about Chelsea's potential European ban for breaching FFP and profit and sustainability.
And very good morning.
Morning, Kieran.
Morning, guys. How are we doing?
Well, this is an interesting one, Kieran. Tell us more.
Well, if we take a look at the Conference League, you don't generate very much money from it. So from Chelsea's point of view, by the time they play players bonuses for qualifying, if you took the cost of travelling to the matches, and also from if Chelsea are hosting matches at home, they're not going to be able to go and charge top dollar. If you've no disrespect, but if you've got the second best team in Albania coming to Stamford Bridge on a Thursday night, you're going to have to go and sell tickets for a tenner. So Chelsea are right at the limits of FFP, and it's even harsher under the UEFA regime. So they might be better off not qualifying for the competition or doing the same as Milan in 2019, self-reporting themselves, taking a one-year ban, and then perhaps focusing on trying to get into the Champions League next season.
Chelsea fans, how do you feel about that? Deliberately losing money to breach the rules, complying then with the investigations from UEFA to ensure you get a one-year ban, therefore meaning you can lose even more money because without European football, the restrictions on losses are less. You can then look to invest, you then save on costs because it would probably, with bonuses, as Kieran Maguire talks about, the traveling costs, etc., it could potentially be you could be in the negative for being in the Conference League versus being out of it because of the overarching costs. How do Chelsea fans feel about the idea of your club from this point potentially and deliberately avoiding playing in Europe? I would love to understand your take on that, your view, how that makes you feel as a Chelsea fan. Your club, look, has always won cup competitions. Yes, it went a long time without winning a league, but for the last 2 decades has been the most decorated club in England. I think joint most trophies now between 2004 and 2024. You would see you have the same amount of trophies now. So the joint most decorated club. To deliberately breach and to deliberately get banned from Europe, does that sit right with you? In your gut, does it? Or do you see it as another worthwhile tactic in trying to get back to the very top, a means to an end? I have to understand how you feel about listening to this. It's a mad one to me. Kieran Maguire, as I say, one of the best in the world when it comes to the finances. He's challenging a lot of what some Chelsea journalists are still saying, that there is very little money, that Chelsea is sailing very close to the sun when it comes to FFP and profit and sustainability. But the way this has been worded, maybe I'm interpreting this wrong. So if I am wrong, educate me. Leave me your comments below. To deliberately breach to avoid going into a competition because it's financially better for you, morally, does that not need to be looked at? And from a rival standpoint, should clubs be able to do this? Deliberately breach to strike a deal to avoid being in the Conference League so they could theoretically spend more to try and catch up with their opponents. How can breaking rules and being banned from Europe ever have a situation where it benefits you? I think Todd Bowley could be congratulated for the innovation in that thinking. Clearlake can be congratulated for looking at the rules, looking at the loopholes, using brilliant lawyers to essentially circumnavigate themselves through that situation. But just because it's essentially legal and within the rules doesn't make it moral. Doesn't, for me, stand up to the principles that Chelsea have stood by, or publicly state they've stood by for the past 20 years. A club that wants to be seen as an integral part, not just of English football folklore, but European heritage as well. Maybe I'm misreading this situation. Maybe I've got this all wrong. But there's something about essentially breaching on purpose and deliberately being banned that just feels like cheating. It just feels like it's anti-football, anti-spirit of the game. But I could be reaching here. I could be missing something. So please tell me in the comment sections if I am.
As opposed to getting a compulsory 2-year ban for breaching the rules.
Of course.
So I should have carried on listening. So to deliberately breach, report themselves, fully cooperate, so they only get a 1-year ban rather than the 2. That's where, again, I know in life in general, if you cooperate, if you get in trouble for anything and you cooperate, you get in less trouble. But surely now UEFA are going to have to look at their rules, because you might get more and more teams do this. If they look at the scenario and go, right, being in this particularly European competition has no financial gain, is a strain on the squad, it means we can only lose up to a certain amount, and I want to be able to lose more to try and get higher up the league the following year. They've got to look at this, surely.
Champions League is big bucks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we take a look at Manchester City last season, they made around about 135 million euro.
Wow.
We're extending the Champions League next season, of course. We've now got the Swiss model. So you've got 1 home match guaranteed, potentially 2, new sponsors coming on board. By the time you factor in bonuses from sponsors and gate receipts, you could be looking at 200 million euro from a successful campaign.
See, and this is the problem. And again, maybe I'm reading this wrong, so I need you to tell me. Me and Lee Gunner have had this debate many times on our Straight Facts show, which I missed, by the way. I used to love doing that show with him. What's football about? And me and him disagree that you judge every single team and every single club through the same lens of winning trophies at any particular moment in time, because the journey of a Brighton is very different from the journey of a Manchester United due to their history. So I don't believe when you're judging them in 2004, you should be judging them through the same lens. However, you should be pushing them all towards making themselves try to get to the pinnacle of the game. But you have to, that's where we disagreed on the journey, but we both agree with the end result and where you want a club to try and end up being. But when you look at the top 6 teams, all of that goes out the window because of their general income and the amount of money they spend. The lens they're looked at is, well, how successful are you being? How many competitions are you trying to win? How are you progressing in the league? That's essentially what you're going to be judged on. And then whether or not you're successful, you look at the investment you make versus the success you bring in as a general rule. That's the bit that's also sticking in the back of my throat with this. Yes, it's in the pursuit of getting back into the Champions League, but is it for the money or is it to really win? Because if it's about winning and Chelsea want to get back to the top, there should be no talk about trying to get banned from a competition next year. There should be no talk of not trying to win whatever competitions you qualify for. Chelsea are trying to rebuild themselves. They're trying to win trophies at the same time. Surely, that's the whole point of these rules in the first place. Fair play. How is this fair play? But again, I could be wrong. I want to ascertain. I want to understand. I want to digest and reflect upon your opinions in the comments section below. Exceedingly important to us here at the Football Terrace to understand your take on this, especially from you, the community, Chelsea fans, and of course, rival fans of Chelsea when you see this news. Sailing close to the FFP margins. May strike a deal with UEFA so they only serve a 1-year ban rather than a 2-year ban, so they can essentially lose even more money. Is this sustainable? Is this morally right? Chelsea fans, how do you feel about it? Let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon.